Good morning. Oh shit. This is gonna be a hard one. I always think that. First thing, first little bit of the day is usually the hardest bit of the entire day. Just to convince myself that suicide is not an option. Just to break myself out of this colossal tiredness. It's really not fun for me. Oh well. I promise you something a bit different today. So that's what I'm gonna do. Fart and then yawn. No, that's not what I'm gonna do. It's different. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go somewhere I've never been before on the vlog. Anyway, between now and then, I really need to wake myself up. I've got this coffee. Okay. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look at my videos. So, since I started the vlog, I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 vlogs. So I've done an entire week of daily vlogging. Today is going to be day number 8, or first day of week number 2. So we've got my first crappy vlog. It's got 3 views. Then we've got Brilliant Blackpool and Wandering Ramblings. That's got 8 views. And we've got Doggy Daycare. That's got 2 views. And we've got Random Guitar Amongst Daily Adventure. That's got 1 view. And we've got Mirrors and Prince Harry. That's got 2 views. And we've got Cameron the Camera is Keeping Me Company. That's got 0 views. And we've got Finally Got a Ladder. That's got 1 view. So those are all the videos I've done so far, and all the views. There's not many. Right, so that's the views that I've got on the videos. Now, what I'm thinking about is, do the views matter to me? And I guess the answer is, I think they do and they don't. I'll explain that. So, say on my TikTok, for instance, I've got, I don't know how many subscribers, but it's at least like a few hundred or something. I don't find really there's any real satisfaction in getting any engagement online from making videos. Now, it would be different to have people in public in real life to show recognition over these videos. And for that to happen, obviously they would have to watch the videos. But I'm not really pushing in any way to get more views, and as far as I'm aware, there's no real way you can do that. So I don't even know how to get more views, or I suppose I do. I suppose to share your channel in different places online would get you more views, or to try to get a shout out from a bigger content creator, that would get you more views. But it's a bit like money. I'm not doing it for that reason. Yeah, it's kind of like a vanity metric to make you look better to other people, to make you feel better about yourself. Stuff like that. I'm not sure it would make me feel better about myself. Or if it did, I'm sure it would be temporary. I've already been through all this in various ways before. With the ideas of fame, or wanting money or anything. It's really just not something to look for. It's really just not something I want. So I'll explain this again. If you're watching this video, I'm not making this because I want people to watch it. I'm really not. I'm making it for me. I mean, if there's anyone that I want to show it to, it's my brother, it's my niece, it's my close friend, it's the people that I already love and cherish and care about. They're the ones that are actually important to me. They're the ones whose opinions matter. So my entire thought process is basically, if more people start paying attention then I'll say, okay, that'll be interesting. But it's really not what you think it is. Like, think about it in real life. In real life, you've got the friends and the people that you know. And let's say you go out with them in a small group and you go to a pub or something. Then you have some random people that you don't know. And they start to notice you guys in your group, and then they start to pay attention to you. That's exactly what it's like on the internet. Because they don't have much vested interest in your friendship, they have less impulse control. Unless they actually understand that. Some people, if they're a new person, you meet them, they're quite understanding of the way that things can go, and they're quite careful in developing meaningful relationships for the purposes of that being a source of good things in the future. But the point is basically I see it a lot like that. Lots of random people engaging with you in life, in real life. You might like some of them, you might not like others. And so it's just going to be like that. And I'm not looking for any kind of engagement on my videos. I'm not looking for views, I'm not looking for comments, nothing. If you watch it and then you decide to comment, great, okay. I hope you say something good and cool. And then I hope I get to discover your channel by clicking on your name. And then I get to see your videos. That's the ideal. Anyway, I'm gonna keep making today's video. That means going out. As you can see, I'm still tired. I'm waking up little by little. When I woke up, my phone battery was on like 9% or something. So I just plugged it in. And I hope it's going to charge quickly. I have got a charging cable in my jacket upstairs. So maybe I could just take that and charge it on the train. It's currently 11 AM. don't even know if I want to go to Manchester. It's actually a bit of a drag sometimes. I've got to do something fun for the video. I've got to do something different. There's plenty of people in Manchester. More coffee needed. I really feel terrible. This day is not kicking off with the bang that I would have liked. I think this is very normal though. It's very common for me to get a bit of this. I guess I'm not quite as excited about the video as I have been before. It doesn't mean I'm not excited. I still am. I can't wait to see it all. But I also do have to actually live through it. And I guess that's more important than capturing it on camera. My whole thought process behind doing this is I already have a very reasonably good quality of life. I'm living life quite happily. I'm quite content on a day-to-day basis, and I'm doing what I want to, make sure I consistently feel good, and I do. Adding the camera into the mix, Cameron the camera, who's keeping me company, adding him into the mix is it just seemed like the next logical step to be like, well, I'm good, and I know how much these other vloggers have been there for me, and I guess I'm just putting this out there in case anyone at all finds comfort in watching me go about my business. I know I like watching people do their thing. I know this totally contradicts what I was saying before about how I'm not doing it for anyone else. I'm just doing it for me. But that's true in a way. Because it's me that thinks of the ways that I can help other people. And that makes me feel better to have done that. So it is about me. Anyway, explanation of what we're doing. What I'm doing. finishing off coffee number 2. Heading out the door. The plan in mind of going to the train station. I'm going to check the trains to be sure that they are running towards Manchester. Strange things have happened. There's been days where there's strikes or everything's cancelled. So it's always a surprise. You never quite know when that's going to happen. So that's the idea. Go down there, head into the city. And then look for some more coffee. Film some more videos. I don't really know why it's even any more interesting to be in Manchester. It's not really. I've been there so many times. I've walked around there so much, getting coffee and whatnot. If I wanted a book, it might be worth going because they've got a really good Waterstones there. Big one. I don't want a book yet. I've got to finish off the Prince Harry book. Spare. Then I've got another book to start, which is called Your Brain on Music. So, and then I've got another one after that. I've got books that I need to get through already. So I'm not sure that I really need any more books. You know what? Saying that though, I didn't really need all that food that's on the shelf here. But I got it in order to invest in my future self so that it's there. Maybe I could start thinking of books like that. Like it's future knowledge waiting to be read, right? It could possibly be the same with CDs. Oh, I do still like CDs. Even though they're somewhat obsolete. Because I've got Spotify, which does everything you could possibly want it to do. Anyway, I'm just thinking out loud. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to focus on that more. I'm going to get everything in order. Books wise, CD wise. I think I know where it's going to go. So basically, what that means is I could do with some shelves possibly in here. Or possibly somewhere else. I guess I need to start with what I can. But I'm not going to be doing it now. I'm going to be going out now. Got this shelving space here. If I organised it a bit better, it could definitely be a bit better. I suppose I just want to have books and CDs all in order and organised, so that I can show them to the camera. But really, it would be good to read more books to the camera. I did quite enjoy reading that Prince Harry book the other day, which was on my channel. A video says Mirrors and Prince Harry. It's just reading the book to the camera. I do like to do that. I would like to do more of that. But the feeling has to take over so that I can go with that and do that. And if the feeling's not there, then I've got to do whatever it is that I am feeling. So that's a situation of, not right now, but a good plan for the future. It is great to have a nice and full and extensive book and CD collection, because they're not only all full of information, they're also full of brilliance and beauty. And if there's two things I love, it's brilliance and beauty. I'm very much attracted to genius. I keep shaking my legs. I noticed yesterday that the shot was sort of bouncing because I was shaking my legs. Okay, well, it's been a very, very subdued and low energy start to the day. Which is fine, perfectly acceptable. I want to see every side of this person. Let's just make sure I've got keys, wallet, phone. Good. Next thing, bit of change. What I'm looking for now is earphones. Earphones, phone charger. Ooh, oh, there they are. Right, I've got everything. So let's try and get a bit more action, man. A bit more action, man. Not action, man. Like the kid's toy. No. No, what I'm saying is, we're going to Manchester, man, in order to find a bit more action, man. And if there's one thing they like on cameras, it's action. Right. Time to head out the door. Let's go. Sunny now. Take me into your loving arms. Kiss me under the light of 1,000 stars. Place your hand on my beating heart. I'm thinking out loud. We found love right where we are. We found love right where we are. We found love right where we are. It's quite a beautiful song, that. Thinking out loud, Ed Sheeran. It's got me thinking out loud. It's basically the essence of this entire fucking vlog, isn't it? Think out loud, and then point the camera at your own face, and then put it on the internet, and then see what happens. Got ever so slightly embarrassed just now, so I was singing to myself, as obviously someone came round the corner mid lyric and saw me, you know, no mates, talking to a camera. No, I've got mates, they're just not here, but well, this is part of the job. That's how I see it, so people can say what they want, really. I think that's actually part of the fun. It's kind of actually interesting to see people's reactions. Everyone's watching this kind of stuff. So, I was thinking, I wonder if this is just going to be a colossal waste of time going into Manchester. But that's where all the big boys go. So we'll see where it goes. It could be a bit of fun. It might not. It's quite unpredictable, really, isn't it? This game. But basically became the only thing I'm really interested in. It's not the only thing, but somehow all the stars have aligned to create this crazy obsession. And now it really is like the only thing I want to do. So odd. I've always really had much more interest in doing things that are completely sort of independent, where you'd rely on no one else and there'd be no one else who can sort of tell you what they think you should or shouldn't do, because I don't want to hear that. You know, you go to work every day and you're working for who? Some guy, Matthew McGowan. Just made that name up. Let's say you work for Matthew McGowan. Right, so whatever you want to do in that job is always going to take second place to what Matthew McGowan wants you to do. And you got to do what Matthew McGowan thinks you should do. And I don't really want to do what anyone thinks I should do. I want to do what I think I should do. I have some degree of sort of faith in my judgment to make a fairly good decision in terms of what I do. You know, I'm not just doing things sort of willy-nilly and not thinking about it. I put a lot of very careful thought into anything that I do before I do anything. That's what I'm trying to say, is that I've thought about this a lot, obviously. And what it came down to is this. I'd walk around with a friend or with a couple of friends or whatever. It doesn't matter how many people were there, but walk around with people, chat away, have a nice conversation with all kinds of people. And that doesn't feel any kind of way. It's just a conversation. It's quite a normal thing to do. That's what everybody does. So all you got to do is transfer that over to, you're now talking to a camera. That's it. And basically, if it doesn't bother me, why does it really matter? I'm only getting a shot of myself. That's all I'm doing. That's the style of content I'm going for. It's just me talking to the audience, and I think there's lots of areas where I don't feel the same way as other people do, because they're all just a bunch of cowards and stuff. But you know, I've been performing music on a stage in front of, you know, loads of people, and even that is a degree of separation, because there's a barrier between the stage and the audience. Oh, there's not in every venue. Anyway, obviously this is more direct. You're on the street, the people are right there. But I've got loads of experience doing that as well. Busking. Stand there or sit down, play drums, singing into a mic, playing music, playing songs. People come past, people watch. I'd actually say that's the transferable skill. That actually translates over to vlogging really quite a lot. It's quite a similar sort of skill set. Getting used to a public facing position where you've got a lot of eyeballs on you. Okay, so just got to the train station. Can't see the screen really. Let's see. What time? 11:35. So it's supposed to be there. Delayed due to a fault. It's now going to be here at 11:59. Okay. So that's about... Damn, that's nearly a 20-minute wait, that. I don't think I'll wait. I think I'll go get a ticket. And then I'll go walk about for a bit and then come back. Alright. So I've got at least 20 minutes or so to wait. Didn't see that coming. That's okay. It's gonna be about, I don't know, 45 minute train journey, and then I'll figure out what's going to be first stop, first port of call. Might just be a short walk, might be more than that. Well, definitely be a short walk of some kind, but I'm just thinking about first destination. Could well be related to a beverage of some kind, usually is. You will notice a running theme throughout these videos, as I keep saying the same thing over and over again. There is a large amount of caffeine that goes into fueling the energy that creates my ability to do these videos. So yeah, I guess I'm not going to walk around. I don't know, there's not much point. It's only 20 minutes. What I might just do instead, stick my earphones in and listen to music for a bit. I'm not sure about filming on the train yet. I guess I can. It's always basically okay if you're pointing the camera at yourself. It's only when you start pointing it at other people that they might have an issue with it. Obviously, I know the rules, I know the laws around it. Basically, well, if you don't know, just have a look. Basically about filming in a public place is perfectly acceptable. Should be no issue, as long as it's not in any way harassing. So when people say, "Oh no, please don't film me," or whatever, you just go, "Okay," and then don't film them. But I'm not interested in filming other people anyway, really. Not unless I know them and we talk, and then I say, "Oh, can I put you on the camera?" And they say yes, etc., etc. So I'm not going to be that guy who's just going around just like pointing cameras at everybody trying to get a reaction. That's not me. More what I'm doing would be showing off. Not showing off, but showing me and my life. And if there's anyone else involved, it's the people I associate with, and it's with their consent, with their permission to take the video and then use the video. So that's that. I mean, in a way, there's not really much point at all in me getting a change of scenery. Basically doesn't affect the video at all. I guess it will do in some way as and when more people start to interact with me, based on seeing me doing the video, which I'm sure is going to happen. People come up and sort of, "Oh hey, what are you doing? You're making a video," etc. In a nice way, whatever. I'm okay with that, whatever. I want to ask questions, ask questions. I like talking to people, I talk to lots of people. It doesn't bother me. Obviously there's a difference between sort of welcomed and unwelcomed. What's the word? Interest, I guess. But a little bit of unwelcomed interest is it's not always such a bad thing. Sometimes it's a bit more of a challenge to respond to, because you're slightly uncomfortable, and you know. But I don't think it's really fair to sort of pathologize that person, or to make them out to be, you know, in some way doing something wrong just for being the way they are. I think people have different temperaments at different times, and just because someone makes you, or just because you're saying that this person makes me uncomfortable, doesn't mean they made you uncomfortable. It just means you became uncomfortable. But that's just something you have to deal with. You kind of understand that. That's part of being a person. Is that there's going to be lots and lots and lots and lots of times where you feel very, very, very uncomfortable. That's not bad. And you don't necessarily have to blame that on anybody else, or try to make out that they've done something wrong for making you feel that way. I mean, there could be specific people that do intentionally try to make other people feel uncomfortable, and maybe there's warranted and due criticism for them that would make perfect sense, right? But I think a lot of the time the way that people react to their own discomfort is for some reason to try and pin that on somebody else and say they caused it. Really, you don't know who caused it, what caused it, or if anything caused it at all, or if it has no causality whatsoever. You know, there's different ways that people pathologize their discomfort. Some people say, oh my god, I'm having a panic attack, and they sort of depersonalize it in a way that explains it as being completely random, and you know, they don't create correlation for cause. It's just like, oh my god, I just randomly had a panic attack. Other people, if they're having a so-called panic attack, they're feeling this level of discomfort that is unpleasant for them, they'll actually look around for who's causing this. Which is, you really are a silly fucking idiot. So if that's you, just shut up. Just deal with it like we all do. We all have to deal with, you know, the way we feel. And attempts at shame and blame are not always the way to go. I think that's the immature way to go, for sure. It's not the way to go for anyone who's successful. Like, people who are actually successful in life, you'll see, are the most resilient people, because they have to be the most resilient people to get to the position you get in. Comes with a whole lot of stress. People, you got to deal with people all the time, every day, whether you want to or not. You still have to respond to them, react to them, and handle whatever it is they try to throw at you or to send your way, right? That used to be something that people would look up to as like a brilliant and important skill to have. People used to look up to resilience and in successful people and say, wow, isn't that amazing? And now, people they look up to are those who try to score the most points as an oppressed person or a victim of some kind. You guys are just fucking losers. Seriously, grow up. Exactly what I thought was going to happen has happened. keeps getting delayed further and further. Now it says it's going to arrive at 12:18. It was the 11:35 service. So it's about 45 minutes late. How the flipping heck do you end up with the train being 45 minutes late? Due to a fault with the signalling system, apparently. I guess it does happen. Why isn't everything absolutely 100% perfect all the time? I mean, it is, really. You do have to find the perfection in the flaws and the faults and the issues and the problems and the things you don't like. You have to find the perfection in it. Otherwise, what are you going to do? Keep living life as if everything's not okay. Everything's okay as long as you look at it in the right way. I mean, the problem people have with experiences and the way they look at their experiences and the way they frame them in their mental model is that they see them as a solid state, and they associate their feelings and thoughts towards their memories of their experiences as being in a solid state, which it's not. Your feelings and your thoughts towards your experiences are things that change with time. The way you think about everything, the way you see everything changes. And you have to come to an understanding that this physical body is made up of experiences. And when you see true and perfect beauty in another person, you're seeing a reflection of the accumulation of their experiences. They wouldn't have been so beautiful unless they went through what they went through. They wouldn't have been so beautiful unless they'd done what they'd done. And if you want to find beauty, or if you want to be beauty, which I think is important to aspire to, although it's not easily achieved through any kind of willpower. It's not about it's not about makeup or clothes or anything like that. A lot of people have got some serious misconceptions about what creates beauty.
Oh my God, I'm fine.
It's something that comes from the soul, from inside of you, and it's reflected on the surface. That's what beauty is. And it's worth a pursuit, but it's not going to come without challenges. For you to be the person you want to be, for you to look the way you want to look, and get the reactions you want to get from people, and if you've got a picture of yourself in your head as what you'd like to see for yourself, who you would like to be yourself, to get there, you've got to go through all the trials and tribulations of hardship. And you've got to be ready and willing to bring it all on. Because, well, basically, you can be ready for challenges, or you can not be ready, but they're going to come whether you want them to or not, and that's an important thing to know. So you're better to be prepared and not have to use your abilities than you are to have no abilities and then be caught in a situation where you're stuck. And then if you get into that place, which is like the checkmate position, like your game's finished, they've won, that's when you've got to start rethinking everything and trying to reframe all your mental models to make a way to understand what has happened to you and who you've become. It's not difficult, it's really not. It happens in a very organic way. So what I'm saying really is all pointless, because it's not something you can do, it's not something you can make happen, it's not something you can create. It's just something that happens over time, and it takes long conversations with, trusted friends and people who actually love you and care about you, for you to come to a place of acceptance for yourself. If you can accept yourself, then you can be transformed. Your whole life, inner and outer, together as one, will be transformed. Your inner life of thoughts and feelings and everything, they have deep correlation with the outer life. What you do outside, where you go, it's all intimately related. There's no inside and outside as separate discernible entities. They appear to be so, but it's not real. I don't know what I'm talking about now. I was just hearing my own self-criticism, saying, what a load of waffle. But you know what? Nice bit of waffle. Actually, no, I'm not that keen on waffles. I'm not that keen on sweet stuff in general. I drink all these caffeinated beverages, but I basically never get sugar in any of them. Always go for sugar-free. Oh, sorry you have to see that. But yeah, my like for sweet things in terms of food is not very great. Very rarely I'll like something like that. But it's really not very often. Anyway, I hope this train's going to show up. I feel like it's just going to get cancelled and then flipping. I have to wait who knows how long. The thing is now, whenever this one shows up, it's going to be absolutely jam-packed. It's going to have so many people on it. Or I bet it will. It might not, but that's usually the case. If there's like major delays or there's ones that get cancelled, it's like when one does show up, then it's just stupidly full of people. It's not my favourite thing ever. I really don't like being sort of stuck on a train. But I guess for the moment that's my only mode of transport. I've not got a car. Don't want a car, really. Or I do and I don't. I flirted with the idea for a while. There was a point where I was like, okay, yeah, I could get a car, and maybe I will get a car. And I was telling people that I knew, like, yeah, I think I'm going to get a car. And, God, I didn't end up doing it. I'm really not sure that I want to be driving around. It is kind of good, you know. I do like to go up and down the country, and then it's a bit more, you know, independent than a train. You got a little bit more peace of mind, a bit more privacy. Those are the upsides to it. I don't like any of the modes of transport that we have at all. I like walking and running. That's about it. I think it's because I'm in 100%, you know, I'm 100% in control of myself in that situation. But then thinking about it, I guess being in a car, you are 100% in control of that car. But I guess the argument is that, oh, but there's so many idiots on the road, and they're putting your life at risk. But I guess if there's always idiots on the road that are putting other people's lives at risks, then that also applies to pedestrians, right? Maybe the chances are slightly lower, or probably significantly lower. So that's maybe why I feel an aversion to it. But all that means is that when I travel about, it's always public transport. And something I like about that, it's a little bit of like a camaraderie feeling of like, you know, we're all doing this together. And I really don't care about the whole like status game that people have of like public transport versus cars. Don't care. But yeah, I can see myself getting one eventually. I'm not sure when exactly. It's going to take the right sort of set of circumstances and situations to sort of co-collaborate. What I would describe as the stars need to align. Because when they don't, just things don't happen. So it's not just got to be me who wants it. It's got to be everything comes together perfectly, and then it just sort of happens. That's the only way anything really happens for me. There's not much that I can actually make happen. How long we got? Damn, Jesus Christ, man! Still got 15 minutes. Can't believe that. Alright, cut for now. Catch up with you again in a bit. Just got into Manchester. Got off the station, Oxford Road. Got a strange accent for some reason, not sure why. Not sure what's happened there. I don't want to do a video. Okay, I'm in Manchester now. It's a bit harder to actually vlog here. There's so many people. So you've got to find your opportunity where you can get it. Not really sure what I'm going to do actually. Basically just walk for a bit and then it's going to be whatever. Damn it. There's too many people. I guess that's the good thing and the bad thing about the city, right? The good thing is there's so many people. The bad thing is there's so many people. I'll have to get used to it. You know, I'm up for whatever comes, you know. So if it's easy peasy, that's great. If it's a bit of a challenge, it's one of those days where I'm like, alright, let's go. I'm excited to see what happens. There's always lots to do. What I usually do more than anything is just drink coffee, walk around, and talk to anyone I know, really. I do occasionally meet new people here and there. I'm not expecting to see anyone today. I'm just still invested in the experiment of what's going to happen, basically, when you add in this extra element to your daily life. I think it's great. I think more people are going to be doing it. There's already a lot of people doing it anyway. I think there's going to be more and more and more as time goes on. Anyway, I'm going to go find a cup of coffee. Got this book about Jimi Hendrix. Damn, he looks so cool. I'm looking forward to read this. The Short Spellbinding Life of Jimi Hendrix, Wild Thing. Philip Norman. Said I'm gonna get some more books. So that's what I've done. Gonna add that to the shelf. I'm thinking about realistically, like, how many books could I actually buy, like, per month, and it's still, you know, a financially wise move to make. Could probably buy one a week, I guess. Probably not going to read one a week, but I have got to start increasing how often I'm reading. Should probably do at least a little bit every day. But now that I'm gonna read to Cam and then put them on YouTube, that'll be more incentive to start getting new books. I do love books. It's so much better reading a book than it is reading from a screen. So I'm still in two minds, like, should I bother continuing to sort of work on it and expand where I am, or should I just move, get a fresh start, and then go from there? I guess really, even if I do move, I'll still be able to just shift all my stuff, set it all up again. So it's not really a big deal. I've got to keep myself entertained on a daily basis, really, haven't I? So that means getting new things, CDs, books, keeping the mind stimulated, less of that, and then just staying happy really. That's the most important thing, right? Alright, anyway, just on Police Street. Gonna go get some coffee now. So, catch you in a bit. Hello again. Just got off the train. Come back to Torley. That's me. I'm Torley. And happy stranger. Very satisfied with the purchase. Really nice look around. Waterstones. I love that Waterstones in Manchester. It's so good. And it's all just been renovated. Looks like recently. And it's looking great. It's looking really good. Great job. So, gonna take this book back to the house and put a smile on my own face, and then get a drink down my neck, and you know what? I think we're gonna do some more reading. I said I want to do more reading. I'm doing a bit more reading. That's what we're gonna do. Simples. So, gonna be finishing off the Prince Harry one first, and we'll see how long that takes, or if I could even finish it. I thought I'd finish it last time. Didn't manage to. Still got some more to do for that. So, finish that one off. Once I finish that one, I got another one. My mum gave me at Christmas. Your Brain on Music. What does music do to you when you listen to it? How does it affect you? Your biology. So that's that. That'll be fairly interesting. So that's going to take some time, because I'm reading it out loud. It does take a bit longer than if you're just reading it in your head. But I don't care. So yeah, and then when that one's done, we'll get round to the Jimi Hendrix one. That's going to be great. I'm looking forward to that. Didn't get any more CDs, but that's okay. I'm going to have a real good sort out when I get back, and hopefully put things in order. Probably going to try and do it sort of alphabetically, like they do in Waterstones. So, yeah, that's it. I'll see y'all later. A bit more later. Bye. Alright then. Alrighty then. I do like a bit of Jim Carrey. He's alright. He's funny enough, isn't he? Just got back in the house. Lovely jubbly. Okay, so if you watched yesterday's video, you'll remember I had to scrape out some gunk from my earphones. And here's what I used. I went to the shop and I got some drawing pins. Drawing pins? Yeah, drawing pins. £1.50. I used a little pointy bit to scrape out all the crap. And then it ended up working, that's good. Let's have a look around the bathroom. Got some Colgate Triple Action. Original mint. What else does it say? Cavity protection. White teeth, fresh breath. That's 1, 2, 3. 1. Cavity protection. 2. White teeth. 3. Fresh breath. Wow. Okay, next thing. Chlorhexidine antibacterial mouthwash, alcohol free. Gum health, complete care formula. Helps to combat gum problems. Wow. Helps to strengthen teeth. Helps prevent bad breath. Fights plaque. Clean mint flavour. Wow. Okay, there's more. These little pans. Kellogg's cornflakes. Okie dokie. Domestos. Zero lime scale. Toilet cleaner. Kills 99.9% germs. Wow. Scary stuff, eh? If I was a germ, I would be terrified. Domestos is going to kill me. Oh no. Okay. Next. Simple. Hydrating light moisturizer. Shit. Camera, focus, man. 12-hour moisturization. Fast absorbing. Kind to skin. Vitamin B5 and E. For all skin types. No colour, no perfume, no harsh chemicals that can upset your skin. Simple. Okay. Wow. Wow, fascinating stuff, eh? Anyway, right, Prince Harry. Gonna grab his book. Not gonna grab his butt. Gonna grab his book. Oh, and then I've got the other book. Right, brilliant. There he is again. Oh, look at that. It's that guy. It's that there, Prince Harry. Oh dear. Right. Okay. So yeah, we're going to read some of that. So what's on the table? Still a bit more. Chessboard. Beecham's cold and flu. Oops. Cold and flu. Hot lemon and honey. Paracetamol. Phenylephrine. I don't know how you say that. Phenylephrine, that's probably right. Paracetamol. Phenylephrine. Hydrochloride. Headache. Fever. Aches and pains. Blocked nose. Sore throat. Non-drowsy. 5 sachets. You know what we have to say about that? Wow. And then, here's some cards. My brother gave me these cards for Christmas because I used to do magic when I was a kid, and the Bicycle Playing Card Company, they are basically renowned for making the best cards that you can get, and lots of magicians use bicycle playing cards. So I had those cards when I was a kid and I used to do magic. And I think my brother got me those cards as a kind of reminder of the nostalgia, of the joy that you feel as a kid. Isn't it great? I was such a happy little guy. I was absolutely head over heels in love with magic. That was all I ever talked about to anyone. That was the only thing I had any interest in at all, was magic. And I talked about magic all day, every day, to everyone. And I was constantly asking people, can I show you a magic trick? That was like my mantra when I was a kid. Can I show you a magic trick? Anyone that would watch me do a magic trick, they were my mates. And it was such a good time. It was a great confidence booster, and that little urge to perform that I still have in me. A little bit of a performative person in my heart and my soul. That little child inside my heart or brain or whatever, that little piece of me that we all have, where we feel that reconnection to the joy that we used to have. It's still very much alive. And as I sort of grew up and went through my teenage years, what happened was magic turned into music. And then that was the only thing I had any interest in at all then. So it was magic for years and years and years and years and years and years and years. That was my truest obsession. And then it became music. And it's still music now. I'm still obsessed with music. I still love music. I don't see that changing anytime soon. Music's always going to be great. I still like magic. I just don't put the time into it that I used to. I used to spend hours and hours and hours reading books on magic and really focusing on how to do these tricks, following the instructions, and then practicing these tricks over and over and over again in the mirror. If I had a camera back then, that would have been amazing. That would have been exactly what I would have wanted. I would have made so many videos of me doing my magic tricks. I can imagine. Oh man, I don't want to get, I don't want to get emotional thinking about it, but I had a great childhood, and I'm very, very thankful for just how lucky I was to be gifted all the space and the time that I was. And just my parents just giving us the chance to make whatever we wanted to happen. Because there was four of us kids, me and my three siblings, and each and every one of us was treated to follow our interests, and not everyone is that lucky. That's one thing I'd love to change in the world, is to create more opportunities for people to find their interests, follow their hobby, and basically find your purpose in life. I think it's really important to find your purpose, and I was really lucky to find mine at a young age, and it changed, but then it's remained the same. Music. Still love music. I mean, I've got lots of sort of things that I love, I could talk about. but it's just different strokes for different folks, isn't it? I've always liked music, and just seen that as like, okay, number one sort of priority interest. There's other people that say food. I like food, of course I do. But food is very good when you're hungry. And I do think it's quite interesting to work at your professional level skills in terms of being able to prepare food to an impressive standard. That's all good. That's all grand. I like that. Good stuff. But when it comes to consumption, there's only so much food you can eat. Whereas I could listen to music all day, every day. I really quite genuinely could, and I quite often do. And I think that's the difference. I could be making music or listening to music all day, every day. And maybe that too will come to an end at some point. Maybe I will, begin to prefer silence. I mean, I do on occasion, but if it's silence or music, I usually go for music. Anyway, I'm going to read some of this book in a bit. I've got to charge the camera for a while, so I'm going to have a little bit of a break, get some water down my neck, because I'm a little bit thirsty. And then I'm going to carry on reading Prince Harry book and see if I can make it to the end. Fingers crossed I can. Okay, more coming. Damn, this camera really does charge quickly. No, I changed it because I wanted to say the opposite. I do that. Look! Wait, what? Weirdo? Wait, weirdo? What? Video? Weirdo? Okay, wait. Wait, look, I'm gonna look at some things, okay? Look. Ooh, kidney. So, right, we're having something to eat. This is what's going in the oven. It's chicken and bacon pizza. 200 degrees. Now, I'm going to read that book shortly. Currently, listening to my old friend Ramdas talk about telling his stories about Maharaji. He's a great guy. I love those guys. They're two of my best mates. And I can't lie, I'm getting a bit stinky. So running the bath. Gonna change my shell suit. It's just a joke. I'm not wearing a shell suit. Run a bath. Have a bath. Get nice and clean. Clean. Clean, clean. Right, that's that. Look at this. Bath time! Oh yeah, who's excited? Me, I am. Okay. Yeah, video weirdo. Here we go. Jake Paul. Crazy stuff. Great stuff. Gracie. Crazy and great. Crazy. Good shit, Grace Gazy. Now, think about this. Got some paracetamol there. Got my book. Lewis before. On the phone. Shit, I gotta get rid of these bins. Thinking about that. Right, okay, so now I need to go get some clothes from downstairs. So this is what I'm going to change into. Get nice and clean. Clean. Get nice and clean. Clean.
There was a feeling of familiarity to it. There was a feeling, even though I had not been in that space
Socks.
since
Boxes.
childhood
Where's that gone?
before I developed my conceptual structure of mind.
Oh yeah.
That place was extremely
Right. Socks, boxes, trousers. Sweet. Oh, t-shirt.
was that I experienced the quality
Righty-ho, magical, beautiful,
incredibly compassionate.
awesome, good.
I looked at form.
Okay, that's that. So, this bath's running, and I've got a pizza in the oven. So, I'm gonna have to. I think I'm gonna have to eat, then bathe, then read the book. In that specific order. I think that's what I'm gonna have to do. But that's great. I'm magically. More of those videos. Ace 2s. Flip flops. Looking out the window. So many things to do. Just thinking out loud. Again, always am. That's what you do, really, isn't it? And at least on a flipping YouTube video. I love this camera so much. I can't keep saying it. I just keep saying it. I love the camera. Oh my god, I really do. I'm so in love with this camera. It's the best. Okay, brilliant, magic, right. So, yeah, that's that. Bath time, pizza time. Pizza again? Yes. Incredible, unbelievable. Bath time, pizza time, right. Before they're finished, I'll listen to a bit more Ramdas because he's so great and he says so many fucking awesome things.
And yet it was familiar, and it was my true self. And yet, as the drug wore off and my ego structures reimposed
Then I'm going to read the
themselves
book.
like a prison of
Right.
my mind,
Hope you're looking
and
forward to this
came
book.
back to my
Bye.
familiar-
Okay. Last shot was all crazy stuff. I've had the bath. I've eaten the pizza. It's a bit too much, actually. God, it's a big one. Right. Prince Harry. Let's have a look at this. Prince Harry. Spare. Has anyone read it? Leave a comment below. Let me know if you read it. I'm going to try and finish this one off. There's really not long to go now. I'm very near the end of the book. Here we go. 84. The palace announced that a review had been conducted of our roles and of the agreement reached in Sandringham. Henceforth, we were stripped of everything but a few patronages. February 2021. They took it all away, I thought, even my military associations. I'd no longer be Captain General of the Royal Marines, a title handed down by my grandfather. I'd no longer be permitted to wear my ceremonial military uniform. I told myself they could never take away my real uniform or my real military status, but still, Furthermore, the statement continued, "We no longer be doing any service whatsoever for the Queen." They made it sound as if there'd been an agreement between us. There was nothing of the sort. We pushed back in our own statement, released the same day, saying we'd never cease living a life of service. This new slapdown from the palace was like petrol on a bonfire. We'd been under media attack non-stop since leaving. But this official severing of ties set off a new wave, which felt different. We were vilified every day, every hour on social media, and found ourselves the subject of scurrilous, wholly fictional stories in the newspapers. Stories always attributed to royal aides or royal insiders or palace sources. Stories clearly spoon-fed by palace staff and presumably sanctioned by my family. I didn't read any of it, seldom even heard about it. I was now avoiding the internet as I once avoided downtown Garmsia. I kept my phone on silent, not even vibrate. Sometimes a well-meaning friend would text, "Gosh, sorry about such and such." We had to ask such friends, all friends, to stop informing us of what they've read. In all honesty, I hadn't been totally surprised when the palace cut ties. I'd had a sneak preview months earlier, just before Remembrance Day. I'd asked the palace if someone could lay a wreath for me at the cenotaph, since of course I couldn't be there. Request denied. In that case, I said, could a wreath be laid somewhere else in Britain on my behalf? Request denied. In that case, I said, perhaps a wreath could be laid somewhere in the Commonwealth, anywhere at all, on my behalf. Request denied. Nowhere in the world would any proxy be permitted to lay any sort of wreath at any military grave on behalf of Prince Harry, I was told. I pleaded that this would be the first time I'd let a Remembrance Day pass without paying tribute to the fallen, some of whom had been dear friends. Request denied. In the end, I rang one of my old instructors at Sandhurst and asked him to lay my wreath for me. He suggested the Iraq and Afghanistan Memorial in London, which had just been unveiled a few years earlier. By Granny. Yes, that's perfect, thank you. He said it would be his honour. Then added, and by the way, Captain Wales, fuck this, it's proper wrong. 85. I wasn't sure what to call her or what exactly she did. All I knew was that she claimed to have powers. I recognised the high percentage of humbuggery. But the woman came with strong recommendations from trusted friends, so I asked myself, what's the harm? Then, the minute we sat down, I felt an energy around her. Oh, I thought, wow, there's something here. She felt an energy around me too, she said. Your mother is with you. I know, I've felt that of late. She said, no, she's with you, right now. I felt my neck grow warm, my eyes watered. Your mother knows you're looking for clarity. Your mother feels your confusion. She knows that you have so many questions. I do. The answers will come in time, one day in the future. Have patience. Patience, the word caught in my throat. In the meantime, the woman said, my mother was very proud of me and fully supportive. She knew it wasn't easy. What wasn't? Your mother says you're living the life she couldn't. You're living the life she wanted for you. I swallowed. I wanted to believe. I wanted every word this woman was saying to be true, but I needed proof, a sign, anything. Your mother says, the ornament? Ornament? She was there. Where? Your mother says something about a Christmas ornament of a mother or a grandmother. It fell, broke. Archie tried to fix it. Your mother says she had a bit of a giggle about that. Wow. Interesting, eh? 86. Frogmore Gardens. Hours after Grandpa's funeral. I'd been walking with Willie and Pa for about half an hour, but it felt like one of those days-long marches the army put me through when I was a new soldier. I was beat. We'd reached an impasse, and we'd reached the Gothic ruin. After a circuitous route, we'd arrived back where we'd begun. Pa and Willie were still claiming not to know why I'd fled Britain. Still claiming not to know anything, and I was getting ready to walk away. Then one of them brought up the press. They asked about my hacking lawsuit. They still hadn't asked about Meg, but they were keen to know how my lawsuit was going, because that directly affected them. Still ongoing. Suicide mission, Pa mumbled. So I guess it would be more like suicide mission. Pa mumbled. Okay, right. Maybe, but it's worth it. I'd soon prove that the press were more than liars, I said. That they were lawbreakers. I was going to see some of them thrown into gaol. I guess that's jail, but it's spelt like Gaol. That was when they were attacking me so viciously they knew I had hard evidence. It wasn't about me, it was a matter of public interest. Shaking his head, Pa allowed that journalists were the scum of the earth. His phrase, but, I snorted. There was always a but with him when it came to the press, because he hated their hate. But oh, how he loved their love. One could make the argument that therein lay the seeds of the whole problem. Indeed, all the problems, going back decades. Deprived of love as a boy, bullied by schoolmates, he was dangerously, compulsively drawn to the elixir they offered him. He cited Grandpa as a sterling example of why the press wasn't anything to get too vexed about. Poor Grandpa had been abused by the papers for most of his life, but now look. He was a national treasure. The papers couldn't say enough good things about the man. So that's it then. Just wait till we're dead and all will be sorted. If you could just endure it, darling boy, for a little while. In a funny way, they'd respect you for it. I laughed. All I'm saying is, don't take it personally. Speaking of taking things personally, I told them I might learn to endure the press, and even forgive their abuse. I might, but my own family's complicity, that was going to take longer to get over. Pa's office, Willie's office, enabling these fiends, if not outright collaborating. Meg was apparently a bully. That was the latest vicious campaign they'd helped orchestrate. It was so shocking, so egregious, that even after Meg and I demolished their lie with a 25-page, evidence-filled report to Human Resources, I was going to have trouble simply shrugging that one off. Pa stepped back. Willie shook his head. They began talking over each other. We've been down this road 100 times, they said. You're delusional, Harry. But they were the delusional ones. Even if, for the sake of argument, I accepted that Pa and Willie and their staff had never done one overt thing against me or my wife, their silence was an undeniable fact. And that silence was damning, and continuing, and heartrending. Pa said, you must understand, darling boy, the institution can't just tell the media what to do. Again, I yelped with laughter. It was like Pa saying he couldn't just tell his valet what to do. Willie said I was a fine one to talk about cooperating with the press. What about my chat with Oprah? A month earlier, Meg and I had done an interview with Oprah Winfrey. Days before it aired, those Meg is a bully stories started popping up in the papers. What a coincidence. Since leaving Britain, the attacks on us had been increasing exponentially. We had to try something to make it stop. Being silent wasn't working. It was only making it worse. We felt we had no choice. Several close mates and beloved figures in my life, including one of Hugh and Emily's sons, Emily herself, and even Tiggy, had chastised me for Oprah. How could you reveal such things about your family? I told them that I failed to see how speaking to Oprah was any different from what my family and their staff had done for decades, briefing the press on the sly, planting stories. And what about the endless books on which they'd cooperated, starting with Parr's 1994 crypto-autobiography with Jonathan Dimbleby, or Camilla's collaborations with the editor Geordie Greig? I don't know. The only difference was that Meg and I were upfront about it. We chose an interviewer who was above reproach, and we didn't once hide behind phrases like palace sources. We let people see the words coming out of our mouths. I looked at the Gothic ruin. What's the point? I thought. Parr and Willie weren't hearing me, and I wasn't hearing them. They never had a satisfactory explanation for their actions and inactions, and never would, because there was no explanation. I started to say goodbye, good luck, take care, but Willie was really steaming, shouting that if things were as bad as I made out, then it was my fault for never asking for help. You never came to us, you never came to me. Since boyhood, that had been Willie's position on everything. I must come to him. Pointedly, directly, formally, bend the knee. Otherwise, no aid from the air. I wondered why I should have to ask my brother to help when my wife and I were in peril. If we were being mauled by a bear and he saw, would he wait for us to ask for help? I mentioned the Sandringham Agreement. I'd asked for his help about that. When the agreement was violated, shredded, when we were stripped of everything, and he hadn't lifted a finger. That was Granny, take it up with Granny. I waved a hand, disgusted, but he lunged, grabbed my shirt. Listen to me, Harold. I pulled away, refused to meet his gaze. He forced me to look into his eyes. Listen to me, Harold. Listen. I love you, Harold. I want you to be happy. The words flew out of my mouth. I love you too, but your stubbornness is extraordinary. And yours isn't. I pulled away again. He grabbed me again, twisting me to maintain eye contact. Harold, you must listen to me. I just want you to be happy. Harold, I swear on Mummy's life. He stopped. I stopped. Pa stopped. He'd gone there. He'd used the secret code, the universal password. Ever since we were boys, those 3 words were to be used only in times of extreme crisis on Mummy's life. For nearly 25 years we'd reserved that soul-crushing vow for times when one of us needed to be heard, to be believed quickly. For times when nothing else would do. It stopped me cold, as it was meant to. Not because he'd used it, but because it didn't work. I simply didn't believe him, didn't fully trust him. And vice versa. He saw it too. He saw that we were in a place of such hurt and doubt that even those sacred words couldn't set us free. How lost we are, I thought, how far we've strayed, how much damage has been done to our love, our bond, and why? All because a dreadful mob of dweebs and crones and cut-rate criminals and clinically diagnosable sadists along Fleet Street feel the need to get their jollies and plump their profits and work out their personal issues by tormenting one very large, very ancient, very dysfunctional family. Willie wasn't quite there. Start again. Willie wasn't quite. Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm trying to say the word. Okay. Willie wasn't quite ready to accept defeat. I felt properly sick and ill after everything that's happened, and I swear to you now, on Mummy's life, that I just want you to be happy. My voice broke as I told him softly, I really don't think you do. My mind suddenly flooded with memories of our relationship, but one in particular was crystalline. Willie and I, years before in Spain, a beautiful valley, the air glittery with that uncommonly clear Mediterranean light. The two of us kneeling behind a great canvas wall as the first hunting horn sounded. Lowering our flat caps as the first partridges burst towards us. Bang bang, a few falling, handing our guns to the loaders, who handed us new ones. Bang bang, more falling, passing our guns back, our shirts darkening with sweat, the ground filling with birds that would feed nearby villages for weeks. Bang, one last shot, neither of us able to miss. Then, standing at last, drenched, starved, happy, because we were young and together, and this was our place, our one true space, away from them, and close to nature. It was such a transcendent moment that we turned and did the rarest of things. We hugged, really hugged. But now I saw that even our finest moments and my best memories somehow involved death. Our lives were built on death, our brightest days shadowed by it. Looking back, I didn't see spots of time, but dances with death. I saw how we steeped ourselves in it. We christened and crowned, graduated and married, passed out and passed over our beloved's bones. Windsor Castle itself was a tomb, the walls filled with ancestors. The Tower of London was held together with the blood of animals, used by the original builders 1,000 years ago to temper the mortar between the bricks. Outsiders called us a cult, but maybe we were a death cult. And wasn't that a little bit more depraved? Even after laying Grandpa to rest, had we not had our fill? Why were we here, lurking along the edge of that undiscovered country, from whose bourne no traveller returns? Though maybe that's a more apt description of America. Willie was talking, Pa was talking over him, and I could no longer hear a word they said. I was already gone, already on my way to California, a voice in my head saying, enough death, enough. When is someone in this family going to break free and live? 87. It was slightly easier this time, maybe because we were an ocean away from the old chaos and stress. When the big day came, we were both surer, calmer, steadier. What bliss, we said, not having to worry about timing, protocols, journalists at the front gate. We drove calmly, sanely to the hospital, where our bodyguards once again fed us. This time they brought burgers and fries from In-N-Out, and fajitas from a local Mexican restaurant for Meg. We ate, and then did the baby mama dance around the hospital room. Nothing but joy and love in that room. Still, after many hours, Meg asked the doctor, when? Soon, we're close. This time I didn't touch the laughing gas, because there was none. I was fully present. I was with Meg through every push. When the doctor said it was a matter of minutes, I told Meg that I wanted mine to be the first face our little girl saw. We knew we were having a daughter. Meg nodded, squeezed my hand. I went and stood behind the doctor. We both crouched, as if about to pray. The doctor called out, the head is crowning. Crowning, I thought, incredible. The skin was blue. I worried the baby wasn't getting enough air. Is she choking? I looked at Meg. One more push, my love, we're so close. Here, 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 the doctor said, guiding my hands. Right here. A scream. Then a moment of pure liquid silence. It wasn't, as sometimes happens, that past and future was suddenly one. It was that the past didn't matter and the future didn't exist. There was only this intense present, and then the doctor turned to me and shouted, "Now!" I slid my hands under the tiny back and neck, gently but firmly, as I'd seen in films. I pulled our precious daughter from that world into this, and cradled her just a moment, trying to smile at her, to see her, but honestly, I couldn't see anything. I wanted to say, "Hello." I wanted to say, "Where have you come from?" I wanted to say, "Is it better there? Is it peaceful? Are you frightened?" Don't be. All will be well. I'll keep you safe. I surrendered her to Meg, skin to skin, the nurse said. Later, after we'd brought her home, after we'd settled into all the new rhythms of a family of four, Meg and I were skin to skin, and she said, "I've never been more in love with you than in that moment." Really, really. She jotted some thoughts in a kind of journal, which she shared. I read them as a love poem. I read them as a testament, a renewal of our vows. I read them as a citation, a remembrance, a proclamation. I read them as a decree. She said, that was everything. She said, that is a man. My love, she said, that is not a spare. Epilogue. I helped Meg into the boat. It wobbled, but I quick stepped to the middle. Got it righted in time. As she found a seat in the stern, I took up the oars. They didn't work. We're stuck. The thick mud of the shallows had us in its grip. Uncle Charles came down to the water's edge, gave us a little shove. We waved to him and to my two aunts. Bye, see you in a bit. Gliding across the pond, I gazed around at Althorpe's rolling fields and ancient trees. The thousands of green acres where my mother grew up, and where, though things weren't perfect, she'd known some peace. Minutes later, we reached the island and gingerly stepped onto the shore. I led Meg up the path, around a hedge, through the labyrinth. There it was, looming, the greyish-white oval stone. No visit to this place was ever easy, but this one, 25th anniversary, and Meg's first time. At long last, I was bringing the girl of my dreams home to meet Mum. We hesitated, hugging, and then I went first. I placed flowers on the grave. Meg gave me a moment, and I spoke to my mother in my head, told her I missed her, asked her for guidance and clarity. Feeling that Meg might also want a moment, I went around the hedge, scanned the pond. When I came back, Meg was kneeling, eyes shut, palms against the stone. I asked, as we walked back to the boat, what she'd prayed for. Clarity, she said, and guidance. The next few days were given over to a whirlwind work trip. Manchester, Dusseldorf, then back to London for the Well Child Awards. But that day, September 8th, 2022, a call came in around lunchtime. Unknown number. Hello? It was Pa. Granny's health had taken a turn. She was up at Balmoral, of course. Those beautiful, melancholy late summer days. He hung up. He had many other calls to make, and I immediately texted Willie to ask whether he and Kate were flying up. If so, when and how? No response. Meg and I looked at flight options. The press started phoning. We couldn't delay a decision any longer. We told our team to confirm. We'd be missing the Well Child Awards and hurrying up to Scotland. Then came another call from Pa. He said I was welcome at Balmoral, but he didn't want her. He started to lay out his reason, which was nonsensical and disrespectful, and I wasn't having it. Don't ever speak about my wife that way. He stammered, apologetic, saying he simply didn't want a lot of people around. No other wives were coming, Kate wasn't coming, he said, therefore Meg shouldn't. And that's all you needed to say. By now it was mid-afternoon, no more commercial flights that day to Aberdeen, and I still had no response from Willie. My only option, therefore, was a charter out of Luton. I was on board 2 hours later. I spent much of the flight staring at the clouds, replaying the last time I'd spoken with Granny. 4 days earlier, long chat on the phone. We touched on many topics. Her health, of course, the turmoil at number 10, the Braemar Games. She was sorry about not being well enough to attend. We talked also about the biblical drought. The lawn at Frogmore, where Meg and I were staying, was in terrible shape. Looks like the top of my head, Granny. Balding and brown in patches. She laughed. I told her to take care. I looked forward to seeing her soon. As the plane began its descent, my phone lit up. A text from Meg. Call me the moment you get this. I checked the BBC website. Granny was gone. Pa was king. I put on my black tie, walked off the plane into a thick mist, sped in a borrowed car to Balmoral. As I pulled through the front gates, it was wetter and pitch dark, which made the white flashes from the dozens of cameras that much more blinding. Hunched against the cold, I hurried into the foyer. Aunt Anne was there to greet me. I hugged her. Where's Pa and Willie and Camilla? Gone to Birkhall, she said. She asked if I wanted to see Granny. Yes, I do. She led me upstairs to Granny's bedroom. I braced myself, went in. The room was dimly lit, unfamiliar. I'd been inside it only once in my life. I moved ahead uncertainly, and there she was. I stood, frozen, staring. I stared and stared. It was difficult, but I kept on, thinking how I'd regretted not seeing my mother at the end. Years of lamenting that lack of proof, postponing my grief for want of proof. Now I thought, proof, careful what you wish for. I whispered to her that I hoped she was happy. I hoped she was with Grandpa. I said that I was in awe of her carrying out her duties to the last. The Jubilee, the welcoming of a new Prime Minister. On her 90th birthday, my father had given a touching tribute, quoting Shakespeare on Elizabeth I. No day without a deed to crown it. Ever true. I left the room, went back along the corridor, across the tartan carpet, past the statue of Queen Victoria. Your Majesty, I rang Meg, told her I'd made it, that I was okay, then walked into the sitting room and ate dinner with most of my family, though still no Pa, Willie or Camilla. Towards the end of the meal, I braced myself for the bagpipes, but out of respect for Granny, there was nothing, an eerie silence. The hour getting late, everyone drifted off to their rooms, except me. I went on a wander up and down the stairs, the halls, ending up at the nursery. The old-fashioned basins, the tub, everything the same as it had been 25 years ago. I passed most of the night time travelling in my thoughts, or trying to make actual travel arrangements on my phone. The quickest way back would have been a lift with Pa or Willie. Barring that, it was British Airways, departing Balmoral at daybreak. I bought a seat and was among the first aboard. Soon after settling into a front row, I sensed a presence on my right. Deepest sympathies, said a fellow passenger before heading down the aisle. Thank you. Moments later, another presence. Condolences, Harry. Thanks very much. Most passengers stopped to offer a kind word, and I felt a deep kinship with them all. Our country, I thought, our Queen. Meg greeted me at the front door of Frogmore with a long embrace, which I desperately needed. We sat down with a glass of water and a calendar. Our quick trip would now be an odyssey. Another 10 days at least. Difficult days at that. More, we'd have to be away from the children for longer than we'd planned. Longer than we'd ever been. When the funeral finally took place, Willie and I, barely exchanging a word, took our familiar places, set off on our familiar journey, behind yet another coffin draped in the royal standard, sitting atop another horse-pulled gun carriage. Same route, same sights, though this time, unlike at previous funerals, we were shoulder to shoulder. Also, music was playing. When we got to St. George's Chapel, amid the roar of dozens of bagpipes, I thought of all the big occasions I had experienced under that roof. Grandpa's farewell, my wedding, even the ordinary times, simple Easter Sundays, felt especially poignant. The whole family alive and together. Suddenly I was wiping my eyes. Why now, I wondered. Why? The following afternoon, Meg and I left for America. For days and days, we couldn't stop hugging the children, couldn't let them out of our sight. Though I also couldn't stop picturing them with Granny, the final visit. Archie making deep, chivalrous bows, his baby sister Lilibet cuddling the monarch's shins. Sweetest children, Granny said, sounding bemused. She'd expected them to be a bit more American, I think, meaning in her mind more rambunctious. Now, while overjoyed to be home again, doing drop-offs again, reading Giraffes Can't Dance again, I couldn't stop remembering. Day and night images flitted through my mind, standing before her during my passing out parade, shoulders thrown back, catching her half smile, stationed beside her on the balcony, saying something that caught her off guard and made her, despite the solemnity of the occasion, laugh out loud, leaning into her ear so many times, smelling her perfume as I whispered a joke, kissing both cheeks at one public event, just recently, placing a hand lightly on her shoulder, feeling how frail she was becoming, making a silly video for the first Invictus Games, discovering that she was a natural comedienne. People around the world howled and said they'd never suspected she possessed such a wicked sense of humour. But she did. She always did. That was one of our little secrets. In fact, in every photo of us, whenever we're exchanging a glance, making solid eye contact, it's clear we had secrets. Special relationship, that's what they said about us. And now I couldn't stop thinking about the specialness that would no longer be, the visits that wouldn't take place. Ah well, I told myself, that's just the deal, isn't it? That's life. Still, as with so many partings, I just wish there'd been one more goodbye. Soon after our return, a hummingbird got into the house. I had a devil of a time guiding it out, and the thought occurred that maybe we should start shutting the doors despite those heavenly ocean breezes. Then a mate said, "Could be a sign, you know." "Some cultures see hummingbirds as spirits," he said. "Visitors, as it were. Aztecs thought them reincarnated warriors. Spanish explorers called them resurrection birds." "You don't say." "I did some reading and learned that not only are hummingbirds visitors, they're voyagers. The lightest birds on the planet and the fastest. They travel vast distances from Mexican winter homes to Alaskan nesting grounds. Whenever you see a hummingbird, what you're actually seeing is a tiny, glittering Odysseus." So naturally, when this hummingbird arrived and swooped around our kitchen and flitted through the sacred airspace we called Lilyland, where we've set the baby's playpen with all her toys and stuffed animals, I thought hopefully, greedily, foolishly, is our house a detour or a destination? For half a second I was tempted to let the hummingbird be, let it stay, but no. Gently I used Archie's fishing net to scoop it from the ceiling, carry it outside. Its legs felt like eyelashes, its wings like flower petals. With cupped palms I set the hummingbird on a wall in the sun. "Goodbye, my friend," but it just lay there motionless. No, I thought, no, not that. Come on, you're free, fly away. And then, against all odds and all expectations, that wonderful little magical creature bestirred itself and did just that. Okay, that's the end of the book, pretty much. I'll just finish it off. Acknowledgements. The length of this list alone leaves me deeply humbled. On the publishing side, thank you to everyone at Penguin Random House, US and UK, beginning of course with the sage and forbearing Gina Centrello, plus super genius editor and all-round top bloke Ben Greenberg. Thanks to Marcus Dole and Madeline McIntosh for the understanding as timelines changed. Not once but twice. Thanks to Bill Scott Kerr, Tom Weldon, Andy Ward, David Drake, Madison Jacobs, Larry Finlay, Teresa Zorro, Bill Takes, Lisa Feur, Katrina Hone, Benjamin Dreyer, Sally Franklin, Catriona Hillerton, Linnea Nollmuller, Mark Berkey, Kelly Cheyenne, Derek Bracken, Kate Samano, Simon Sullivan, Chris Brand, Jenny Pouch, Susan Corcoran, Maria Brakel, Lee Marchant, Windy Dorostain, Leslie Prives, Aparna Rishi, Tina Wiki, Matthew Martin, Anka Steinecker, Sinead Martin, Vanessa Milton, Martin Soames, Kaylee Subberwall, Denise Cronin, Sarah Lemon, Jackie Updike, Cynthia Lasky, Alison Pearl, Skip Dye, Stephen Shodin, Sue Malone Barber, Sue Driscoll, Michael DeFazio, Annette Deneck, Valerie Van Delft, Stacey Whitcraft, Nihar Malivia, Kirk Bleemer, Matthew Schwartz, Lisa Gonzalez, Susan Seaman, Eric Tesson, Gina Wachtel, Daniel Christensen, Jess Wells, Taya James, Holly Smith, Patsy Irwin, Nicola Bevin, Robert Waddington, Thomas Chicken, Chris Turner, Stuart Anderson, Ian Shepherd, Vicky Palmer, and Laura Ricchetti. On the audio side, thanks goes to Kelly Gildea, Dan Zitt, Scott Sherratt, Noah Bruskin, Alan Parsons, Okhi Kolwitz, Tim Bader, Amanda how do you say that? Amanda Daciano, Lance Fitzgerald, Donna Passanante, Katie Punia, Ellen Folan, and Nicole McCardle. Special thanks to Ramona Rosales for her sensitivity, humour and artistry. Hazel Orme for her careful copy edits. Hilary McClellan for her superb fact-checking. Tricia Weigel for her eagle-eyed readings. Likewise, Elizabeth Carbonell, Janet Reynard, and Mega Jane. Thank you for the huge team effort. To my mates in the UK who have stuck by me, who may not have seen it all clearly as it was happening, but who always saw me, knew me, stood by me, in amongst the fog, thank you for everything, and thank you for the laughs. Next round's on me. Love and thanks to friends and colleagues who helped jog my memory or else restored important details lost in the haze of youth, including Tanya Jenkins and Mike Holding, Mark Dyer, Thomas, Charlie, Bill, and Kevin. To my entire military family for challenging me, prodding me, encouraging me, and for always having my back. I'll always have yours. Special gratitude goes to Glenn Horton and Spencer Wright, my 2 colour sergeants from Sandhurst. Thank you and hugs to Jennifer Rudolph Walsh for her always positive energy and soulful counsel. And to Oprah Winfrey, Tyler Perry, Chris Martin, Nacho Figueras, and Delphi Blackia, and James Corden for their unwavering friendship and support. Thank you to all the professionals, medical experts, and coaches for keeping me physically and mentally strong over the years. Dr. Leslie Parkinson, Dr. Ben Caraway, and Kevin Lidlow, and also Ross Barr, Jesse Blum, Dr. Kevin English, Winston Squire, Esther Lee, John Amaral, and Peter Charles. Also Casey, Eric Goodman, and the 2 Petes. Special thanks to my UK therapist for helping unravel years of unresolved trauma. Thanks from the bottom of my heart to the A-team on the home front, plus the whole wonderful gang at Archwell for the endless support. To Rick, Andrew, the 2 Tims, Matt, Jenny, and the team, David, my deepest thanks for your wisdom and guidance. You're always there, whenever, however. Thanks to my collaborator and friend, confessor, and sometime sparring partner, J.R. Moeringer, who spoke to me so often and with such deep conviction about the beauty and sacred obligation of memoir, and to all the faculty and students at the Moeringer Welch Memoir Academy, including Shannon Welch, Gracie Moeringer, Augie Moeringer, John Stillman, Kit Rachelis, Amy Albert. Special thanks to Shannon for her countless reads and brilliant, incisive notes. Standout thanks to my mother's siblings for their love, support, time and perspective. Above all, my deepest and adoringest thanks to Archie and Lily for letting Papa go off to read and think and reflect, to my mother-in-law, aka Grandma, and to my incredible wife, for too many millions of gifts and sacrifices, great and small, to ever enumerate. Love of my life, thank you, thank you, thank you. This book would have been impossible, logistically, physically, emotionally, spiritually, without you. Most things would be impossible without you. And to you, the reader, thank you for wanting to know my story in my words. I'm so grateful to be able to share it thus far. Brilliant. That's it. We got to the end of the book. Good work. That was another 45 minutes. Can't believe it. Very, very good. Very, very good. Very, very good. Brilliant. Brilliant. Okay. Next book. This is Your Brain on Music, Understanding a Human Obsession. Beautiful, brilliant. Let's go. All right. This is Your Brain on Music. About the author. Dr. Daniel J. Levitin has a PhD in psychology from the University of Oregon and trained at Stanford University Medical School and the University of California, Berkeley. He is the author of the internationally best-selling books This Is Your Brain on Music, 2006, The World in 6 Songs, 2008, The Organized Mind, 2014, and A Field Guide to Lies and Statistics, 2017. His work has been translated into 22 languages. Currently, he is founding Dean of Arts and Humanities at the Minerva Schools at Keck Graduate Institute in San Francisco, California, and James McGill, Professor Emeritus of Psychology, Neuroscience and Music at McGill University in Montreal, Canada. This is Your Brain on Music, Understanding a Human Obsession. Daniel Levitin, Penguin Books. Penguin Books. UK, USA, Canada, Ireland, Australia, India, New Zealand, South Africa. Penguin Books is part of the Penguin Random House group of companies, whose addresses can be found at global.penguinrandomhouse.com. Penguin Random House UK. 1 Embassy Gardens, 8 Viaduct Gardens, London, SW11 7BW, penguin.co.uk. Penguin Random House UK. First published in the United States of America by Dutton, a member of Penguin Group USA, a member of Penguin Group USA Inc., 2006. First published in hardback in Great Britain by Atlantic Books, an imprint of Grove Atlantic Limited, 2007. Published in Penguin Books, 2019. 008. Copyright Daniel Levitin, 2006. The moral right of the author has been asserted. Every effort has been made to trace or contact all copyright holders. The publishers will be pleased to make good any omissions or rectify any mistakes brought to their attention at the earliest opportunity. Penguin Random House values and supports copyright. Copyright fuels creativity, encourages diverse voices, promotes freedom of expression, and supports a vibrant culture. Thank you for purchasing an authorized edition of this book and for respecting intellectual property laws by not reproducing, scanning, or distributing any part of it by any means without permission. You're supporting authors and enabling Penguin Random House to continue to publish books for everyone. No part of this book may be used or reproduced in any manner for the purpose of training artificial intelligence technologies or systems. In accordance with Article 4 of the DSM Directive 2019, Penguin Random House expressly reserves this work from the text and data mining exception. Typeset by Juve, UK, Milton Keynes. Printed and bound in Great Britain by Clays Limited, Elcograph SPA. The authorised representative is in the EEA is Penguin Random House Ireland, Morrison Chambers, 32 Nassau Street, Dublin, DO2YH68. A CIP catalogue record for this book is available from the British Library. ISBN 978-0241-987353. Penguin Random House is committed to a sustainable future for our business, our readers, and our planet. This book is made from Forest Stewardship Council certified paper. Contents. Introduction. I love music and I love science. Why would I want to mix the two? 1. What is music?
from pitch to timbre, 13. 2. Foot tapping, discerning rhythm, loudness and harmony, 57. 3. Behind the curtain, music and the mind machine, 83. 4. Anticipation, what we expect from Liszt and Ludacris, 111. 5. You know my name, look up the number. How we categorise music, 133. 6. After dessert, Crick was still 4 seats away from me. Music, emotion, and the reptilian brain, 169. 7. What makes a musician? Expertise dissected, 193. 8. My favourite things. Why do we like the music we like? 223. 9. The Music Instinct. Evolution's #1 hit, 247. Appendices, 269. Bibliographic Notes, 277. Acknowledgements, 307. Index, 309. Introduction. I love music and I love science. Why would I want to mix the two? I love science, and it pains me to think that so many are terrified of the subject or feel that choosing science means you cannot also choose compassion or the arts or be awed by nature. Science is not meant to cure us of mystery, but to reinvent and reinvigorate it. Robert Sapolsky, Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers. PXII. In the summer of 1969, when I was 11, I bought a stereo system at the local hi-fi shop. It cost all of the $100 I had earned weeding neighbours' gardens that spring at 75 cents an hour. I spent long afternoons in my room listening to records: Cream, the Rolling Stones, Chicago, Simon and Garfunkel, Bizet, Tchaikovsky, George Shearing, and the saxophonist Boots Randolph. I didn't listen particularly loud, at least not compared to my college days when I actually set my loudspeakers on fire by cranking up the volume too high. But the noise was evidently too much for my parents. My mother is a novelist. She wrote every day in the den, just down the hall, and played the piano for an hour every night before dinner. My father was a businessman. He worked 80-hour weeks, 40 of those hours in his office at home on evenings and weekends. Being the businessman that he was, my father made me a proposition. He would buy me a pair of headphones if I would promise to use them when he was home. Those headphones forever changed the way I listened to music. The new artists I was listening to were all exploring stereo mixing for the first time. Because the speakers that came with my $100 all-in-one stereo system weren't very good, I had never before heard the depth that I could hear in the headphones. The placement of instruments, both in the left-right field and in the front-back, reverberant space. To me, records were no longer just about the songs anymore, but about the sound. Headphones opened up a world of sonic colours, a palette of nuances and details that went far beyond the chords and melody, the lyrics, or a particular singer's voice. The swampy deep south ambience of Green River by Creedence, or the pastoral open space beauty of the Beatles, Mother Nature's Son. The oboes in Beethoven's Sixth, conducted by Karajan, faint and drenched in the atmosphere of a large wood and stone church. The sound was an enveloping experience. Headphones also made the music more personal to me. It was suddenly coming from inside my head, not out there in the world. This personal connection is ultimately what drove me to become a recording engineer and producer. Many years later, Paul Simon told me that the sound is always what he was after too. The way that I listen to my own records is for the sound of them, not the chord or the lyrics. My first impression is of the overall sound. I dropped out of college after the incident with the speakers in my dorm room, and I joined a rock band. We got good enough to record at a 24-track studio in California with a talented engineer, Mark Needham, who went on to record hit records by Chris Isaak, Cake, and Fleetwood Mac. Mark took a liking to me, probably because I was the only one interested in going into the control room to hear back what we sounded like. While the others were more interested in getting high in between takes, Mark treated me like a producer, although I didn't know what one was at the time, asking me what the band wanted to sound like. He taught me how much of a difference to the sound a microphone could make, or even the influence of how a microphone was placed. At first, I didn't hear some of the differences he pointed out, but he taught me what to listen for. Notice that when I put this microphone close to the guitar amp, the sound becomes fuller, rounder, and more even. But when I put it farther back, it picks up some of the sound of the room, giving it a more spacious sound, although you lose some of the mid-range if I do that. Our band became moderately well known in San Francisco, and our tapes played on local rock radio stations. When the band broke up, due to the guitarist's frequent suicide attempts and the vocalist's nasty habit of taking nitrous oxide and cutting himself with razor blades, I found work as a producer of other bands. I learned to hear things I had never heard before, the difference between one microphone and another, even between one brand of recording tape and another. Ampex 456 tape had a characteristic bump in the low frequency range. Scotch 250 had a characteristic crispness in the high frequencies, and Agfa 467 a luster in the mid-range. Once I knew what to listen for, I could tell Ampex from Scotch or Agfa tape as easily as I could tell an apple from a pear or an orange. I progressed to work with other great engineers like Leslie Ann Jones, who had worked with Frank Sinatra and Bobby McFerrin. Fred Caterow, Chicago, Janis Joplin, and Jeffrey Norman, John Fogerty, The Grateful Dead. Even though I was the producer, the person in charge of the sessions, I was intimidated by them all. Some of the engineers let me sit in on their sessions with the other artists, such as Hart, Journey, Santana, Whitney Houston, and Aretha Franklin. I got a lifetime of education watching them interact with the artists, talking about subtle nuances in how a guitar part was articulated or how a vocal performance had been delivered. They would talk about syllables in a lyric and choose among 10 different performances. They could hear so well. How did they train their ears to hear things that mere mortals couldn't? While working with small unknown bands, I got to know the studio managers and engineers, and they steered me toward better and better work. One day an engineer didn't show up, and I spliced some tape edits for Carlos Santana. Another time, a great producer, Sandy Pearlman, went out for lunch during a Blue Oyster Cult session and left me in charge to finish the vocals. One thing led to another, and I spent over a decade producing records in California. I was eventually lucky enough to be able to work with many well-known musicians, but I also worked with dozens of musical no-names, people who are extremely talented but never made it. I began to wonder why some musicians become household names while others languish in obscurity. I also wondered why music seemed to come so easily to some and not others. Where does creativity come from? Why do some songs move us so and others leave us cold? And what about the role of perception in all of this? The uncanny ability of great musicians and engineers to hear nuances that most of us don't. These questions led me back to school for some answers. While still working as a record producer, I drove down to Stanford University twice a week with Sandy Pearlman to sit in on neuropsychology lectures by Carl Pribram. I found that psychology was the field that held the answers to some of my questions. Questions about memory, perception, creativity, and the common instrument underlying all of these, the human brain. But instead of finding answers, I came away with more questions, as is often the case in science. Each new question opened my mind to an appreciation for the complexity of music, of the world, and of the human experience. As the philosopher Paul Churchland notes, humans have been trying to understand the world throughout most of recorded history. In just the past 200 years, our curiosity has revealed much of what nature has kept hidden from us. The fabric of space-time, the constitution of matter, the many forms of energy, the origins of the universe, the nature of life itself with the discovery of DNA, and the completion of the mapping of the human genome just 5 years ago. But one mystery has not been solved, the mystery of the human brain and how it gives rise to thoughts and feelings, hopes and desires, love, and the experience of beauty, not to mention dance, visual art, literature, and music. What is music? Where does it come from? Why do some sequences of sounds move us so, while others, such as dogs barking or cars screeching, make many people uncomfortable? For some of us, these questions occupy a large part of our life's work. For others, the idea of picking music apart in this way seems tantamount to studying the chemical structure in a Goya canvas at the expense of seeing the art that the painter was trying to produce. The Oxford historian Martin Kemp points out a similarity between artists and scientists. Most artists describe their work as experiments, part of a series of efforts designed to explore a common concern or to establish a viewpoint. My good friend and colleague William Ford Thompson, a music cognition scientist and composer at the University of Toronto, adds that the work of both scientists and artists involved similar stages of development: a creative and exploratory brainstorming stage, followed by testing and refining stages that typically involve the application of set procedures but are often informed by additional creative problem solving. Artist studios and scientists' laboratories share similarities as well, with a large number of projects going at once in various stages of incompletion. Both require specialized tools, and the results are, unlike the final plans for a suspension bridge or the tallying of money in a bank account at the end of the business day, open to interpretation. What artists and scientists have in common is the ability to live in an open-ended state of interpretation and reinterpretation of the products of our work. The work of artists and scientists is ultimately the pursuit of truth, but members of both camps understand that truth in its very nature is contextual and changeable, dependent on the point of view, and that today's truths become tomorrow's disproven hypothesis or forgotten objects d'art. One need look no further than Piaget, Freud, and Skinner to find theories that once held widespread currency and were later overturned, or at least dramatically re-evaluated. In music, a number of groups were prematurely held up as of lasting importance. Cheap Trick were hailed as the new Beatles, and at one time the Rolling Stone Encyclopedia of Rock devoted as much space to Adam and the Ants as they did to U2. There were times when people couldn't imagine a day when most of the world would not know the names Paul, Stookie, Christopher Cross, or Mary Ford. For the artist, the goal of the painting or musical composition is not to convey literal truth, but an aspect of a universal truth that, if successful, will continue to move and to touch people even as contexts, societies, and cultures change. For the scientist, the goal of a theory is to convey truth for now, to replace an old truth, while accepting that someday this theory too will be replaced by a new truth. Because that is the way science advances. Music is unusual among all human activities for both its ubiquity and its antiquity. No known human culture now or any time in the recorded past lacked music. Some of the oldest physical artifacts found in human and proto-human excavation sites are musical instruments, bone flutes and animal skins stretched over tree stumps to make drums. Whenever humans come together for any reason, music is there. Weddings, funerals, graduation from college, men marching off to war, stadiums, sporting events, a night on the town, prayer, a romantic dinner, mothers rocking their infants to sleep, and college students studying with music as a background. Even more so in non-industrialized cultures than in modern Western societies, music is and was part of the fabric of everyday life. Only relatively recently in our own culture, 500 years or so ago, did a distinction arise that cut society in two, forming separate classes of music performers and music listeners. Throughout most of the world, and for most of human history, music making was as natural an activity as breathing and walking, and everyone participated. Concert halls dedicated to the performance of music arose only in the last several centuries. Okay, time for a break. Carry on with that another time.